Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a look at an old camera. It came out in 2013, that's 11 years ago. And in camera terms, that is really old. And it is the Panasonic GM1. And it was, at the time, the smallest camera with interchangeable lenses. It was the smallest micro four thirds camera. I think it still is actually, still holds that record even today. But I'm sure somebody in the comments will be able to tell me whether I'm right or wrong. But it's a little Panasonic, babby little Panasonic GM1. And I say interchangeable lenses with a micro 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor in there. So to be fair, that's a pretty decent sensor. Even today in 2024, you can get great images with it, and you'll also be able to print these images. You can use them for social media. You can use them for all sorts of things. What I love about this camera is compact size. I mean, that is its big selling point. I know the lenses make it quite a bit bulkier, but the actual size of the camera is really compact, and that fits in a nice little pouch. I quite often use it in a pouch, or it'll fit in a jacket pocket. Won't quite fit in jeans pockets, but it'll fit in a jacket pocket. It has got touchscreen on the back, which is rather nice. And what I like about this touchscreen, it does work. And when I say it does work, even though it's 11 years old, you don't really have to push on the screen to get it to do anything. It is very instant and very accurate, great for setting focus points, adjusting all sorts of parameters. If you want to adjust your ISO, because the camera is lacking various function buttons. It has got your PASM dial on the top there, and it has got basically your focus setting on the top there. I don't know why they've done that really. I think they could have made more use of that switch on the top here, but that sets it to autofocus, continuous focus, manual focus, and then it's got a function button in the center there, which I've got set to ISO. You can go into the menu and adjust that function button for what you want. ISO seems appropriate to me, but auto ISO works fine on this camera. I've not had an issue with it, although I tend to use this camera in pretty much fully automatic. Because of the size of the camera, it is a bit fiddly for setting manual settings. It has got no command dials on the top here. Most cameras have a command dial around the top of the camera body here, usually around the on-off switch there's a command dial. This camera hasn't got that. The only command dial it's got is this one on the back here. Now I find on this model I've got, now it might be that it's an old model, I got it really cheap on eBay, but I find this command dial quite stiff to adjust the aperture settings. I'm always going accidentally, as it's done there, into the white balance setting, because it's got a four-way pad on the back here for adjusting white balance, ISO, whatever it might be, and I find it a bit sensitive. So I set it to programmed automatic, which is exactly what I want really. When I'm taking, you know, photographs out and about, I don't want to be setting it up. If I'm taking some photographs, you know, street photography, photographs with a family, I just want to be able to get decent photographs and push the button, and that's what I do. I've got it set to programmed automatic, and then I just set the focus point to where I want, and then just take the photograph, you know, and that works a treat. It's got full HD video, hasn't got 4K, obviously it's too old for 4K, but it's got full HD video. It hasn't got a rotating screen, so you can't articulate the screen in any way, but that's kind of like the Ricoh GR3 and the Ricoh GR2. And I bet you this will really match that in picture quality, or come very close to it in picture quality. One big advantage this has over the GR3 is the interchangeable lenses. I mean, I've got on here at the moment the 12-32 Panasonic 12-32 kit lens, because it's got in-lens image stabilization in the lens. That would make sense, wouldn't it? In-lens image stabilization in the lens. But quite often I'll pair it with the little, that's a little Olympus lens, that's another kit lens, but I quite often pair it with the Panasonic 14mm lens. I'm not sure where that is. It's disappeared on me, but it's somewhere. Is that it? Yeah, here we go. I quite often pair it with this little 14mm lens, and when you see that on the camera body, it's really dinky. But the 14mm in full frame terms is about 28mm, and that pairs nicely with a 28mm lens. Again, that's a great lens for doing street photography. Not too wide, but not too tight either, so you don't have to get too close to the subject. But likewise, you haven't got to stand a long way back either. So look how well that pairs with that. That pairs with that nicely, doesn't it? And that produces lovely, lovely images. We'll go through some of the images on my computer here, but I strongly suggest you take a look at them on my Flickr page. I'll leave a link to where you can find the images on Flickr. Take a look at them there. You'll really enjoy looking at them, I'm sure you will. And for an 11-year-old camera, the 16 megapixel sensor stands up really well and you get some great shots. But yeah, look how well that pairs with that. And it works absolutely fine, no problem with that at all. Although it's lacking physical function buttons, what Panasonic have done is put additional function buttons in a separate menu down the side here. And you can actually access those just by clicking on the menu. That's loaded the histogram. So and you can take the histogram, you can move it as well. You can actually move the histogram around to where you want because it is touchscreen. But I primarily use the touchscreen for setting my autofocus points. So yeah, nice little compact camera. Takes standard SD cards. Little Panasonic battery just fits in the compartment in the bottom there. And I would say, if you have a look on some of the used, obviously you can't buy this new anymore, but if you look at eBay and various other markets, probably even places like MPB, or in America and Canada would be KEH, I'm sure you could probably pick up a decent quality GM1 at a really good price. I picked this up for 130 quid here in the UK, body only, and it's beautiful, works lovely. And I say that is so compact. That is so compact. It's not far off, actually. It's not far off the size of my little Sony RX100, which I will never sell. I love my little RX100, but you can see they're very similar, very, very similar in size. The RX100 is a little bit fatter, but quite similar in size to the RX100. But the beauty, obviously, with the RX100 is the 24 to 200mm lens fitted to it. And it is a 20 megapixel sensor, but it's only it's a 1-inch sensor in the RX100, but it has got 4K, many other features. But that's like £1,000 quid, £1,100. This one wouldn't be anywhere near that, and it's a bigger sensor. It's a Micro Four Thirds sensor. So, swings and roundabouts really. But if you look at some of the images here, I'm not going to pick out any specific ones, but colours are lovely that come off this sensor. I say sharpness is great. You can still get that depth of focus. You can still get that separation between the foreground and the background if you're doing portraits with Micro Four Thirds. Just have to be careful what lens you use and how you set it up to do it. But look at the clarity and the sharpness of these images. They are just so good. And so you can print these images without any problem whatsoever. Colour, I just love the tones, and it doesn't look digital. One thing I do love about that old camera, a lot of these older cameras actually, my little Olympus XZ2 or ZX2, XZ2, they don't look digital. There's something about the way that these old sensors worked. They look very filmic looking. The colours and the tonal range looks more like film than it does a digital image. But again, sharpness is great, clarity is great. Yeah, I really like this little camera, and the fact that you can, even nice sharp eyes. It's got face detect, but it hasn't got eye detect. Obviously, again, it's too old for that kind of technology. But yeah, I think it's a great little travel camera. And you could quite easily throw 2 or 3 little Micro Four Thirds lenses in your pocket to use with this. The grip isn't great because obviously it's a really compact camera, so it hasn't got a great grip. I have looked to see if I can buy a third-party grip for it, but because the camera is so old, I think again I'd have to see if I can pick one up on eBay or somewhere like that. But batteries are still available for it. I got a couple of batteries off Amazon, so there's no problem with that. But yeah, the grip is a little bit, limited. It has got a built-in flash. I don't use flash. I'm not even sure where the switch is to turn it on and off because I've never used it. But yeah, it has got built-in flash. But And you see there, it's a bit marked on the front there. I think somebody has actually had a grip on it. You can see the remains of where the grip was. Yeah, really, really nice little camera. And I find I can hold that quite happily, no problem at all. And I don't knock all these buttons. I thought I would actually, but it seems to work fine without knocking the buttons on the back. So yeah, great little camera, fantastic in 2024. Nice little travel camera. If you don't want to spend the money on something like this on the RX100 or even the Ricoh GR3, that's around £1,000, £800–900, you know. So this works out amazing value for money, even with a couple of extra little lenses. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the like button if you like the content on my videos. Would really, really appreciate that. It does help me grow the channel. Thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.